Yeah, it's about values, about the standards that we are looking to uphold consistently. Central to that's being team first, and so yeah, Josh and I have had a number of conversations. You know, it's not isolated to recent events. This is something we've been working on for a long period of time now. Not just Josh and I, but the team, the entire squad, about what it is we stand for, and that's why the decision is where it is. As I said, like when you're dealing with values, it's important that you get everyone on the same page. Such a fine line between what we accept and what we don't as a football club and as a football team. So we'll continue to work through that as a group. There are a lot of things that Josh is doing that we just love. We love his energy, we love his enthusiasm. He brings an incredible passion to our group. I'll make it clear this has nothing to do with the way Josh celebrates. In fact, we love the way Josh goes about his footy and the enjoyment he brings to the footy. It does send a real vibe through our group. It's not an isolated incident. This is not one scenario. This is something we've worked on for a period of time now. It wouldn't be fair to a player to go into the detail of that, and no matter who that player is. And I think for Josh, he knows I've got his back. I'll always have Josh's back. In fact, at the moment, when a kid's in a tough time, as it is now, there's a lot of attention around, a lot of noise around at the moment, and the reason for that is because Josh is such a liked player. He's a high-profile player. I've got no doubt he'll be a leader of our footy club in the near future and going forward. And so, right now, we're working on making sure that he is a leader that we want others to follow.
But the argument is that you don't have his back because you dropped him. Your actions just slip out of the noise.
No, I've always got Josh's back, and I've got every player's back, and especially in times that are tough. Josh and I have had numerous conversations since the day he arrived at the footy club. The last week and a half has been a tough week for him, and I've been there for him, and I will be there for him going forward.
Josh Rachele, this is big news. So, drop from the Crows senior side. Can you tell us why? Obviously, it was pretty explosive in the showdown loss.
Well, my understanding is he put himself above the team. That's the general answer from Adelaide. Now, specifically, the football boss in Adam Kelly has put out a statement as part of the teams. He says, we love the energy Josh brings to the group. Collectively, though, we must always prioritise a team-first focus, which is so central to our values and our standards. So, my understanding it's just accumulation of the events. So he goes on radio, he distracts the club. Of course, the silly, no teeth salute. I think it's a really inadequate response though from Adam, who's a really good football boss.
You don't like
inadequate?
It. You don't like
I want to know why. So look, I've asked the question of this football club. Was there any circuit breaker where the club said to him pre-match, you must not do exactly what we see you were doing there? Now, if they'd said to him, pull your head in, Josh, not your teeth in, and he had gone against those orders, I think all of us would understand that. Yeah. I would have liked, given the speculation over the last 24 hours, to see, even if it's a 90-second video from Matthew Nicks. Yeah. You know what? We've got game breakers. We've got entertainment showmen. We've got Ben Keys. We've got Isaac Rankin. We've got me, look at me, guys. How the hell have you dropped a bloke? Because the one thing this is not about is form. No. 10 goals in the last 5 games.
Definitely not. So it's about the teeth and going above the team. Is this not harsh on a young kid, if you know what I mean? Like, we're lauding Ginnivan. Every time we see the Hawks take the selfies, or what about the flair and flamboyance? And maybe he overstepped the mark a little bit, but have we been too harsh?
I think you're probably right there. In June this year, we had a situation where he asked for more midfield minutes, and it was really strong in the public, in the media, and the club were not happy about that. And that was probably more serious than this in a lot of ways.
And as a result of that, that was a Channel 9 deal, which he sacked that deal. And so these young kids in there, they've got high-priced deals. They're going to say stupid stuff.
But have they failed in their duty to actually talk him around to say, mate, you can't be doing this? They've had a couple of months now to get on top of this behaviour. They're not on top of it clearly. So have they failed a little bit in that sense?
I'm sure he's been briefed. Like every player who does an interview gets a one-page dossier. So you can only brief these blokes enough. But at some stage, the coach needs to pull him aside and say, mate, do you think you need to do these interviews before a showdown? Probably the media employer would say you're contractually obliged to do it. So I think in some ways it's a failure from Matthew Nicks. To be able to handle this group, I would say that they're mentally weak. So they came into this summer, expected to play finals. And Matthew and Adam have both said,
mentally weak.
They have said we weren't equipped or we weren't able to handle the expectation of it. And then they've said, look, we had a really bad showdown. Now, we understand what happened and it was a horrible incident with Dan Houston. But after that, at least Port Adelaide were able to just really concentrate on the football, whereas Adelaide totally dropped their bundle. Yeah. Now, there is a review that's still going with Tim Silver, a thorough review. No one expects that Matthew Nicks is going to be moved on, but I think if you had to rate Matthew Nicks out of 10 in terms of his entire performance for the year, there's a couple of fails in there.
And I just wonder, Macca, whether does it open the door for rival clubs just to dangle a carrot
just a little
to
carrot.
Josh Rachele?
Absolutely.
You'd think he'd stay, but geez, it'd be an interesting
long contract to get involved in.
Didn't get a lot of inside 50s on the weekend, and I didn't play a lot of midfield again, so yeah, playing mainly up the ground. And it's something that I probably don't really know what's going on too, so it's something I'll sit with the coaches and ask questions today about how can I help inject myself in the game when I'm not getting too much of the ball.
So that was Josh Rachele back in post-round 13 after the Crows got collected by Hawthorn. And now, as predicted, he's found himself out of the team, left out of the side after what went on in the lead-up and then during the showdown. So to start the Firecrackers, have they made the right call by dropping Josh Rachele for the final round of the season?
I've got no issue with it. I think it's perfectly fine to drop a player. To be fair, he's only had an average year. He obviously, spoke probably out of school and his work rate and some of his efforts aren't good enough. So I think it's a good reality check for him going into next pre-season to lift his standards, lift his work rate, head down, bum up, and have a big next year.
I want to hear that from the coach. I want the coach to come out and say, this is exactly why. Boom, boom, boom. Set the standard, put a line through it, and then you don't have the problems of if it happens somewhere else. If someone else does it, you know where the lines sit.
Are you worried about that?
I just like hearing from the coach with these sorts of things, not other members of the staff.
Yeah, I mean, communication is so vital in this, isn't it? Like, and not know what the communication was to him along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, that's exactly right. Maybe it should have been done earlier.
All right, so this is one I can't wait to see if there's anything. Can Clarko have a surprise for Sam Mitchell and Hawthorn? Because no one has talked about the possibility of Hawthorn losing, and I don't think for a second that they will, but wouldn't Clarko love to have something up his sleeve?
He'd be keen, wouldn't he? He might try. No doubt he'll try.
Certainly kept their distance last time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, does he just not have the talent to do anything? Or
it's hard to see the Hawks losing.
You talked about tagging Scrimshaw or something like that. I mean, could he do something that might help the other coaches?
They're in different weight ranges at the moment, aren't they? No, I don't think much will change. This is probably not the fight to pick this weekend.
All right. Let's move on then. Did the Bombers get it right in the end with Dyson Heppell, given he's coming in for his farewell?
No, because they lost anyway. So they could have played him last week. Wouldn't have mattered.
The Melbourne fans needed to be able to send off Dyson Heppell. I'm different to Jared and Geordie on this one. You just get one chance to exit your absolute champions. He's been that, and they've made a mess of it, really.
No, I share the same view. All right. Who would, and I've asked this question a few weeks ago, but now it's even more interesting. Who would have won the Rising Star if Harley and Sam Darcy were both available?
It's about time a tall wins one, isn't it? We track to the midfielder in every award we've got. I think the Sam Darcy season's been very, very good.
Yeah, I think for what Sam Darcy's done. Harley Reid's been exceptional, but I'm happy if Darcy won it. I think Luke Jackson about 4 or 5 years ago was the last one to win it. Tall.
All right, that Firecrackers have finished going off. But is there a risk Richmond could cut too hard, do you think?
No, I don't. They've still got a heap of senior players. When you think about Broad, Short, Vlosten, Taranto, Hopper, Camden McIntosh, they've still got a lot of senior players there. I think that it makes sense for them to cut deep, get some young talent in. They've still got some senior players around them. Tom Lynch is still there.
Need to hang on to McIntosh.
Nankervis.
Can't afford to lose Camden.
Well, I think he might go around again, is what I'd heard, I thought. But there's others, Nankervis and Tom Lynch, I didn't add in. So there's enough experience still there if they let a few senior players go.
Get what you can from them. Get as many early picks in. Joey showed some players before, early draft picks, first rounders, very early first rounders. Stockpile while you can.
A few of them are playing in the Richmond VFL, which is handy as well.